there a crease in my forehead? It's because I'm sim racing. It's not a game. Can't. Welcome back to the Scale Builders Guild. Thanks again for watching. It's episode 160. Is that all? Of What's on the Bench Weekly. And if you're not familiar with this show, it's where I take you through the projects that I'm working on. There's always a project, sometimes more than one. This is, I don't know, there's a bunch. I don't know how many there are this week, but some interesting, cool stuff. So let's just get right into it. Before we get right into it though, hit the like button. And actually, you know, now that I mention this, a lot of you are not subscribed to this channel, and I don't know why. We do this show every week. You should just subscribe. If you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Okay, on to the show. Here is the Tamiya F-150 Ford Ranger XLT. This was built live on this channel, on this stream, over the weekend. I'll put a link to it right up there if you want to watch this whole thing. It's basically a sand scourger, and it always has been. This is a re-release of an original kit that came out in 1981. Many of you were probably -10 or 15 or maybe even more, who knows. It is a really great Re-Re. I'm really happy to have it, and it went together pretty brilliantly. A lot of these older cars, the Sand Scorcher and the XLT specifically, were all hex hardware, so you don't have to fumble with JIS bits. You can just use your hex hardware tools that you already have and build one of these beautiful, very not scale accurate vehicles. But there have been some really nice updates to this specific chassis. The most notable one is not pink wheels. We'll get into that. The most notable one, though, is the body itself. This is a new mold. This is actually a 2026 mold. You know how I know that? Because it says so. Right there. 2026. And they made one really big significant change, and that big significant change is the front clipless body mount. Now, they did obviously make a change to the chassis as well to allow this to happen, which I'm going to show you now. This nice front post here, this whole assembly is new. All of this plastic is new. Typically, it would just be the pot metal suspension arms that held everything together, but now they've added this piece in here. So the body just naturally slides into that position, and then two body clips on the rear of the bed attach it to the chassis. And I really, for one, I love seeing that. I think it's fantastic that Tamiya made a change like that after so many years to make this a little more scale. It's really, really great. I've already done one coat of primer because I did sand some high spots out of the hood, and I also glued in the sunroof portion on the actual roof there. So I've got one more pass with a little bit more filler putty, and then I think we're good to go on the next steps. And obviously, if you were part of the live stream, you'd know that I was not going box art. Obviously, they're pink wheels. I dyed those with some RIT dye. They didn't take the dye quite as well as I had hoped, but overall I'm still happy with the shade of pink that we've got there. It's sort of like a, what would you call that? Rose, maybe? Dusty rose. Yeah, we'll go with that. But what I'm going to be doing with this is more of a Blockhead Motors theme. I am a big fan of Blockhead Motors. I traveled to one of their stores while I was in Tokyo, which was pretty amazing. I met June, who runs and owns Blockhead, at Proline by the Fire in 2023. Sounds right. Maybe even 2024. I can't remember now, because I'm older than this car. Yeah, it was an excellent experience. He's a great guy. He's got a really unique sense of style. So what I'm going to try to do is kind of riff on that vibe. He is very much an original character, a very original guy, and very artistic, and he does an amazing job. You can actually buy Tamiya kits that are actual Blockhead motor kits. Wild One, Grasshopper, or Frog. It's the cow one with the pink tires. But he just, it knocks it out of the park every time. I'm going to try to do something similar. I'm going to be using my not my Cricut. I don't have a Cricut anymore. I'm going to be using my H2D, which has a cutting, plotting attachment. And then we're going to cut out some new stickers, some new decals here. I've got this nice pink and some gold. We're going to be doing a leopard print pattern, which will adorn the truck in a lot of different ways. And then to go with that, we've also got, where are they? We've got some blockhead stickers. They were here. Here we go. We'll add some hot pink letters and Blockhead Motors themes and maybe a turtle or two, and really kind of give this a cool vibe. I did get some automotive paint, some duplicator. This is what is this? Sonic Blue Pearl, and it is a Ford color. So that's going to be a nice match. And it's a nice dark blue, which I think is going to go set it off really nicely with those pink wheels and all the pink leopard print with gold. I think it's just going to be wild. I'm really excited about that. I think also it does come with a very, very, very basic interior, like the most basic of interiors. But what I think we'll do is replace the head with me. I think that's a good idea. Windows aren't completely tinted either, which is nice. So, yeah. What else can I say about this kit? Went together quite easily, not a lot of crazy hard steps. It's a sand scourger. You should know all about putting those together by now. And the other brilliant thing about this kit, they include 2 different sets of spurs and pinions. So you can go for more torque or more speed. We did the speed mod. So easily 20 miles an hour. You'll be able to buy these very soon. I'll put a pre-order link down there. And if there are other things down there, like the channel membership, that link will be down there too. I offer all kinds of behind-the-scenes content, tips and tricks, how-tos, travelogues, the lot. All kinds of additional bonus content you cannot get anywhere else. I really do appreciate all of these ding-dongs. Take a moment to thank them for me for being a part of that tight-knit community. If you're interested in that, link down below. These feet, I tell you. All right, on to the next thing. Speaking of sand scorchers, I sort of was. Here's one of the bodies that I'm working on for either the Northwest Scalar Designs chassis with leaf springs or the Zoku chassis. I haven't decided which Beetle is going on which one yet. They're both going to have a very distinct livery. I've got brilliant ideas happening, and credit where credit's due. I think Josh gave me one of them. And yeah, I've already made, might as well show you this one. I've already made a few minor trims to this one to give it a bit more of a compy kind of look. So the front fenders have been trimmed, the rear fenders have been trimmed, and all of the holes have been filled. Oh, I also cut the front fender, so that's also a bit tighter now as well. This one's probably going to go in the Zoku, if I'm honest. But what's great about this other one is that they're both being cut differently. This one's might ruffle some feathers. But yeah, we've gone for sort of a toothy sort of look. I don't really know what to call this, but I was like, yeah, you know what? Shark teeth, maybe. Who knows? I just wanted to do something a bit different with this one. So yeah, we'll be doing that to the rear fenders as well. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen anybody do this. It certainly could be a lot of fun. So yeah, we're doing wild, weird, wacky stuff. You may have seen this Northwest Scalar Design chassis already on the gram, but here it is. It's got F10Ts now. We're using Merchant Metal Fab and Twisted Fabco's hardware to make all of this happen. I've already trimmed off all of the unnecessary link mounts as well. So this is starting to come together. It's starting to be a thing, which is pretty exciting. That Reef's transmission, I don't know if I mentioned that, but that's going to be powering this whole deal. Forward motor, and then outputs obviously for front and rear. And another Reef's 1100 Smart Servo to get those axles actually turning, because leaf springs, Not much for the old steering, but the way this one's set up, Northwest Scalar Designs did an excellent job of giving you full lock. So you will actually be able to steer, which I think is good. Anyway, the body mounts are for this body, and I'm gonna have to trim the front of that as well. But man, it's gonna look great. I'm super excited about whatever I've done there. Things are happening on these Beetles, which is great. I'm super excited. Do you love Beetles as much as I do? If you do, throw a comment down below. You know I love reading through your feedback, and I try to answer as many of those comments as I can. If you're enjoying this video, hit the like button. And like I told you earlier, subscribe. Why haven't you subscribed? Wild. Anyway, there we go. On to the next thing. Real quick, not a lot of changes yet to the Dodge, but I've been doing a lot of stuff. I've kind of worked out where the shocks need to go, and that's all good. I've been doing a lot of design in Fusion 360 to start working on the actual fire truck part of that build. I don't really have much to show you yet, but insiders did get a special look at some of the things I've been working on. But what I wanted to show you are these wheels. These are from Long Tall Texan, and it's a nice Steely, 8-bolt Steely, which is perfect for Dodges, Chevys, probably Fords of that era. I don't know entirely. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what goes on what. Do your research. That's all I say. But they're a really nice looking Steely. He's got a new beadlock version, which I'm going to be printing shortly. But I wanted to have these just for mock-up. Mounted up to some Dick CPEC 3.75 inch tall trail countries. These are the 1.7 wheel. And I think it's just perfect. I think they work really good on the Dodge. And it's going to be a nice kind of like scale accurate tire because it's nice and narrow and it's got a good scale tread pattern. So I think it's going to be really nice. Long Tall Texan on Instagram if you're interested in those wheels. He may be able to help you out. All right, now officially on to the sort of the last thing. I've been experimenting a lot with the 3D printers. You know, I've got Bamboo Labs H2D. I've also got the H2C, which is the multi-nozzle, multi-color printer, and it can do some pretty wild stuff. This is a Benchy that I printed, but it's not your regular Benchy. It's sort of like a artistic, weird Benchy. It's quite unique, as you can see. And this was printed in 4 different colors at the same time out of 2 different nozzles. The real benefit to the H2C, and I'm going to do a whole standalone review video on it, but the real benefit to a printer like this is that you are saving a lot in the sort of the waste that's typical of multicolored prints. Something like this, typically you'd have to purge the nozzle each time you changed colors. And that created a lot of these little poops that would come out the back of the machine. With this new process, there is no more poops, which is great. It's like when your kid gets out of diapers finally. I assume, I don't have any children that I know of. The real benefit here is speed and efficiency. And while there is still a purge tower, and not a small one, I might add, there's still a significant amount of wasted product. This would have to be done anyway. The purge tower is done whether or not you're switching nozzles or not. It just saves a lot of time in the actual printing and in the actual waste. So this you're always going to get. But this, plus all the poops, it saved something like 700 grams. I don't have the exact math on it. And of course, this isn't a review, but it's pretty incredible. And especially considering you can have multiple spools hooked up through their AMS system, you can have like 8 spools going, so you can have 8 different colors in one print. It's pretty crazy. Plus, there's all sorts of ways to sort of like combine colors to make all the colors of the rainbow. It's pretty unique and pretty freaking cool. So watch for this full review coming soon. But one other thing I did want to talk about 3D printing wise is I found a really amazing tool online that I think can do some pretty artistic and original things for our hobby. As you know, the IJ, which I should have, there it is. There's the Project IJ. I put on different wheels and tires just to get ready for Beat the Creek. But this was all printed on a 3D printer, and then I finished it you know, by, you know, actually sanding it and polishing it and doing a good job of painting it. And it turned out really, really good. I'm very pleased with it. But there are so many people out there who are licensed to reprint these Project IJs, and they're doing some wild things with adding logos and graphics and all kinds of different colors to the actual print, and they look fantastic. I'm actually trading Josh Toth for one when I see him at Beat the Creek, because I was so impressed. I really liked what he did. But the reason I'm talking about this is that this new tool that I found from another maker and YouTuber, his channel is CNC Kitchen. I'm going to link to it down below. The tool that he offers, it's a free web tool. You can donate to help support him, which is amazing, and I'm going to definitely do that because I think this tool is actually going to get used quite a bit. It's a texture mapping tool for existing STLs. And you can add textures through, you know, like the fuzzy skin style through your slicer. You can add textures through Fusion 360. But if you don't have access to that and you've already got the STLs and you just want to do something kind of unique and different, you should check out this program. It's called Bump Mesh, and I'll put a link to it down below from CNC Kitchen. And it's hard to see here because I printed this in clear. I should have printed it in another like solid color. But there is texture, almost like a crystalline, faceted kind of texture to this whole roof that I just printed. You can see it as you kind of shift through the light. There is a texture in this print, and I think it's really, really neat. They have a bunch of preloaded textures you can add to any project, any flat surface, any curved surface too. It'll work on anything. The really brilliant thing is that you can decide where not to put it. So on the inside, I didn't use it because it does add a little bit of thickness to create this pattern. And you can adjust the depth and you know, how smooth it is or how rough it is. And you can make any pattern you want because he allows you to upload the actual pattern files that you need. So it's really going to change, I think, how you can kind of finish projects. You could just obviously sand this a bit and paint it and be done and have a nice smooth Jeep hood like I have here. But why not do something wild and crazy and just kind of think a little bit outside the box? You could adjust textures to give yourself like a burnished sort of finish, or you could do something like this with crystalline finish, or you could do something with like a fuzzier surface, or rocks. It's like there really are endless possibilities for what you could use this for. And I think it's a really cool tool. And I invite you to experiment with it and try it out and post your results down below. Because I think the more tools we have like this, the more possibilities we're giving ourselves for really interesting techniques. I'm really impressed with it. I thought it was very cool and I wanted to share that with you. So hopefully you'll get some use out of it. If you don't, no harm, no foul, but thought I'd share with it. So there you go. I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. I don't know if this show will stay on Thursdays or move to Fridays. It's sort of just, I'm doing everything on Wednesday with the live stream and everything is a lot. Does it matter to you? Do you care? Are you even out there? Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again next week.